Okay, so I've made the friendly airstrike. Unfortunately, it's going to be a one call type thing because you can only explode an entity once. So until that gets fixed, it's not going to be reusable. But the good news is once it does get fixed, it will just work automatically, I believe. Can't even find my spaceship. Oh, there it is. So basically you need to have the binoculars down on an entity. Actually, I'll go back to that in a sec. You need to have your spaceship down and remember the name because you're going to name the binocular entity the same thing so that they can talk to each other. So you know which um, is your spaceship basically to call with the airstrike. So in my case, I've just named it dropship. And then, of course, I've given it the script. Make sure it's static is no, and always active is yes. Because, of course, this is going to be a long distance away from the player, and so you're going to need it to be running normally the entire time. So yeah, you just give it airstrike bomber friendly .lua, and you can give it a sound at slot 0 for the engine, and there might possibly be a few more, but that's the most important one. And then underneath, you just need an explodable object, which again is not static and always active is yes. And then you just give it airstrike bomb.lua. It doesn't matter what you name it because the script automatically names it. I've just named it out of habit. But yeah, that bit doesn't matter. Of course, it just needs to be explodable because, of course, you're going to need it to actually blow up when it hits the ground, so that it actually destroys your area that you're aiming your airstrike at. So then we have the actual binocular entity down here, which of course is just named the same as the actual ship, so dropship. Of course, static is no because it needs the binoculars script, and always active is yes because again you're going to be able to wander around everywhere and call the airstrike from anywhere in the map. So that's just the easiest way to do it rather than have this entity follow you around and that. And sound free is actually like a sound that is going to be used to when you trigger the airstrike itself. That sound free will play. I've left 1 and 2, 0, 1, 2, and 3 just because you might want to add like sounds for equipping the binoculars or picking them up, stuff like that, at a later date. So I just put it on sound free because I knew it was free, a free slot. And then of course you need something to actually aim at, which in this case is just a bunch of soldiers. And there is one thing that you need to be aware of is that their eyesight range is actually going to play an important role because there's no way to determine whether you can actually see an object in Game Guru other than like doing it in reverse, in that whether the enemy can see the player. And that is based on their actual range that they're given in their properties here. Up to a maximum value of 1,500, I believe. Might be slightly higher if they're always active, I'm not actually sure on that, but it's roughly about that. So if you're outside of their view range, it won't allow you to call the airstrike, and that's simply because, I mean, you can remove it from the script if you wanted to, but I think this is the best way to do it because otherwise you could call from like behind a hill where you can't even see anyone, or if they're inside a building and stuff like that. I just think while that might be okay, in most cases it's probably going to be more of a like strange sort of strange idea to like just be able to bomb like random places you might not even mean to, and you might not even know they're there, and you're just like bombing them randomly. So, and this way it means that you need to be much closer, and it's much easier to target like this because, of course, if you had like unlimited range, you could accidentally bomb this like second group here, whereas with this much shorter range, it's much more likely you're actually going to hit the first group. Because targeting is a little bit iffy, of course, because there's no visual guide other than the middle of the binoculars. So yeah, rather than just go into some really complicated targeting system, this was the best way that I could think of that will reliably actually hit something that you can see. So yeah, we're just going to run it. Oh. We're going to run it and get an error straight away. Okay, wonderful. Where is it? Oh, I moved it out of the way, didn't I? Yeah, of course. Well, that's a good thing to explain, that the bombs have a short range in the script to pick them up in, because obviously you don't want to check the entire map. It makes the script run through much quicker if you can check a very small area. So yeah, just make sure that your bombs are actually underneath the origin point of your spaceship, dropship, whatever you want to call it, your bomber. So yeah, just like that. Otherwise you'll get that nice handy hint to tell you what's wrong. Otherwise you'll be stood there going, oh whoa, it's not working, what's going on? So another thing that I've changed is that the binoculars now, you probably can't really see it, but it now actually removes the weapon. So there's no more weapon if you had one. Obviously originally when I was playing with that script I didn't actually have a weapon equipped. So yeah, just a minor thing, but it helps. So I think if I'm back here... Oh, okay, he will. So here he comes. I was thinking I might be out of range, but... So of course, how many bombs you drop, how far away, or how many bombs you drop is set in the editor. How many you actually place on the editor is how many he'll start drop, how many he'll drop. How soon you want it to start dropping and how fast he travels, etc., etc., is all changeable in the script like normal. And of course, how high he starts up in the air. Things like that are all going to be all changeable. When it stops screaming in the corner there, will disappear eventually. So yeah, I did play with the idea of it not being E that you need to press. And again, like I say, I didn't actually show, but I'll do it right now, just real quick. Go back in. But yeah, I did play with the idea of it being like hold right click and then left click, but unfortunately, as soon as you left click, it kind of there's no dual mouse click input. So if I go like this and left click, it kind of flashes the screen, and that's more noticeable if you have a gun, unfortunately. So not much I can do about that. So I left it as E. But also, if you're not looking at an entity or a target, I can press E and nothing happens. Because, like I say, you need to have an enemy in your target's range. And again, if I move back a bit, I should. Yeah, nothing happens when I press E because you're too far away. But I have also, while the default range of the enemy might want to be 1,500, you might want it to actually be a lower range on your airstrike for some reason. I can't imagine why you want to, but I have given an option in the script so that you can reduce the maximum range without having to adjust the AI's view range, because of course if you adjust the AI's view range down just for this purpose, then they're not going to be able to shoot you from like a long distance and such. And of course you will still die if you're in the bomb range. But yeah, I mean, you can speed up how fast the bomber travels if you want to. Let's just see here. So there you go. He will die along with it. Oh, weirdly it actually turned the sound off. I don't know why I did that, but there we go.